Until now, I've been very negative regarding this season, but despite that, I still firmly believe that Vox is the best part of it. Vox is not only entertaining, thanks to Christian Borle's phenomenal performance, but whenever he is on screen, he has the audience's complete attention. Initially, I was satisfied with Vox's backstory in episode 2, where he explained he was a cult leader. This is connected to the imagery shown in State Gone in season 1, and it sparked my interest. If you are informed on the subject, then you know cult leaders are some of the most vile people who have ever existed on this planet. So having a villain be an ex-cult leader, as opposed to a serial killer or a rapist, sounded like a breath of fresh air. Then episode 7 shows us his backstory. He was a bloodthirsty television host, and his past as a cult leader is not shown. I admit this left me a bit disappointed, and I also don't understand how no one investigated him. I personally would have preferred Vox to have been a televangelist who embezzled millions of dollars while ruining people's lives. And despite all this, I prefer Vox's backstory over Alastor's. And the reason is... Unlike Alastor, who just stabs a man and then sells his soul without asking what he will have to do for Rosie, Vox's past is shown through a song, which elevates a mediocre backstory. Sometimes presentation does make a big difference. The song Brighter is great, and this shot with Vox climbing the weapon like a Tower of Babel, with one of the steps turning into a cape, is beautiful. And I don't say it ironically. Also, this may be something stupid, but I am obsessed with the delivery of this sentence before the song in the Italian dub.
Fallito. Te lo faccio vedere io il fallito.
And I love how Vox says I'll show you failure, referring to Alastor, and the very next scene shows Vox's backstory, communicating to the viewers that Vox is the failure. The flashback between him and Alastor was one of the highlights of this season. It showed us a vulnerable side of Vox we hadn't seen before, making him feel more like a real person. And I appreciate that the show consistently portrays Alastor as an asshole. I'm just a bit confused by Vox's actions later. I was under the impression that Vox acted so nicely with Alastor because he had a crush on him, but it's still jarring to see him have such a different personality when interacting with him. He went from an unscrupulous psychopath like Patrick Bateman to shy schoolgirl who wants Senpai to notice her. Vox works fine as a villain, and he is a genuine threat to the hotel, but he appears clever only because other characters around him are idiots. Val and Velvet have been dumbed down to make Vox look smart. Lucifer literally walks on the giant X on the floor, and Charlie... well, she's Charlie. Alastor outsmarts him with a wordplay, and I don't have a problem with that. In his overconfidence, Vox hadn't thought about word technicalities. The problem is that Alastor's plan didn't really make sense, as I already explained in this video. And about his plan to invade heaven, if we have established that winners can't leave heaven, following this logic, it should be impossible for sinners to physically leave hell and go to heaven. I thought the show's foundation was that a sinner could leave hell only through redemption. Now that I think about it, if this rule is correct, why do the angels even fear an uprising from hell if demons can't leave that place? It's possible that Lilith, who was stirring them up and empowering them, can maybe travel to heaven and lead them there, but this is just me speculating. The demon uprising must have been a tangible menace, because if it weren't, not only would Sarah's choice be pointless, but this would mean the show's entire premise wouldn't make sense. Hazbin Hotel's writing is so bad and convoluted that when you find a plot hole, you later discover it has another plot hole. By the end of season 4, the show will look like this. Despite Vox's plan not making sense, he's so passionate about it that I couldn't help but be curious to see his attempt to conquer heaven. I also appreciate how they implemented Carmilla in the plot. I think it's weird that sinners are able to build a weapon that can contain an archangel's power, especially considering that up to a few months ago they didn't even know it was possible to kill angels. But at least it makes sense for Carmilla to be the one to build it. I think it's cool that Vox used his powers to get information on how to defeat Charlie, but I didn't like the choice of making him manipulate Angel to spy on the hotel. If he's the master of televisions and screens, what's the point of hypnotizing Angel? Why doesn't he just use the screens inside the hotel to spy on them? We literally see him drop a giant TV in episode 3, and even in season 1, they had a television in the hotel. In season 1, Pensius infiltrated the hotel to spy for Vox, which creates another plot hole. Why do that if Angel was already there? This twist felt unnecessary and wasn't properly set up. People said that there were hints because Vox was present at the end of Poison, and Angel had a headache once, but these are very mundane things that don't mean anything. We already know that Vox can use screens to spy on people and hypnotize them. He was literally watching the fight at the end of season 1 with cameras, so having a spy was useless. It felt as if the writers realized Angel hadn't done anything this season and just shoehorned this plot twist. In this case, they've simply invented things that never happened in Season 1, or even worse, things that undermine the already shaky structure of Season 1. So they made Vox the main protagonist this season, but by accident. I found myself rooting for him more than Charlie despite his delusional goals. And there's a problem if I find the narcissistic cult leader more tolerable than the actual protagonist. Charlie's character is just far less compelling. She doesn't change much through this season, and as I watched the show, I always found myself wanting to skip past what the hotel staff was doing so I could go back to seeing what Alastor and Vox were doing because they were actually moving the plot forward. The magic of friendship saves the day, and we will discuss that in the next video. But what actually defeats Vox is his obsession with Alastor, which stems from his insecurities and obsession with proving himself to him. The part where Vox is going insane while shedding a tear to Alastor, saying he doesn't care about anyone anymore as long as he wipes Alastor's smile off his face, is my favorite moment of all Hazbin Hotel, because it shows just how much his obsession with being better than Alastor, alongside his ego for power, became his downfall.
You know what? Fuck all of you! As long as I wipe that smile off Alistair's fucking face, I don't care what happens!
I'm unsure about how the rest of the show will handle this character. Vox is now just a head, which means he will probably be only a comic relief character. And if that happens, I won't like it. I'm not saying it will 100% happen, but this character's last moments gave me that impression. There are also some people who say that this moment was a foreshadowing of Vox's future redemption, and I hope that won't be the case. I can't see how someone like Vox could ever be redeemed. I'd rather the show focused on redeeming Angel Dust, who did nothing except get abused again this season. Despite this show's numerous writing problems, this character carried the season for me, and I wanted to highlight that before finally discussing the season finale.